Leanne is on the line with me right now. Leanne, how are you doing? Netflix and everybody loves you. What's going on?
Oh, you angel. Well, I'm having a ball. I'm worried about my stamina, but I'm on a good probiotic, and I probably need a trainer, but I got to get off of dairy and gluten. But I'm having a good time. I'm out traveling on a new 100-city tour. You know, I was in Des Moines when I did the big panty tour, had a ball. I think it was spitting snow sideways when I got to y'all, but last time. But I'm on this new 100-city tour called the Just Getting Started Tour, because I feel like I'm just getting started at 57 years old with a Netflix special that just dropped last week.
How did that come around? I always think this part of the conversation is interesting because here you are, you're doing this, you said for about 20 years, and then all of a sudden Netflix comes a-calling. How did that go? How was that phone call?
Honey, I know. Is that not I really did not expect that. And I thought, I knew that after having a big tour, somebody was going to do a special with me, but I never thought it was Netflix because they're still the king, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, they're not going to want a middle-aged woman from Tennessee that's a grandmama. And I think that's why they wanted me, because they don't have a middle-aged woman that's a grandmama from Tennessee. And it was just like somebody put a magic wand on me. I cannot believe it. And it's really doing well. And I'm not in shock. I kind of am in shock. You know, it's just amazing.
Where were you when you got the call about it?
Oh, gosh, where was I? I think I was at home. I think I'd come off the road, and I was at home, and they called me. And a bunch of people got on a phone call and told me, and my mouth dropped open, and I could not believe it. And it took me a long time to process it. And then, I'll just tell you, I'm a kind of a worrywart, and then I started thinking, oh, my gosh, now I've got a Netflix special. I've got to prepare for this Netflix special. And instead of losing weight, because I wanted to be svelte, you know, and be pretty, because that means a lot to me, in the South, you know, women in the South like to be pretty, and instead I think I ate my emotions, and I probably gained weight, and then I went through all kinds of emotions, and it was at the end. I shot it at the end of the big panty tour, so I shot it the first weekend of December in Lexington, Kentucky.
That's amazing.
And I barely got my children's Christmas done, but I did. I got it all done, but that's when we shot it, and it just dropped last week.
Leanne Morgan on the line with me right now. I'm Every Woman on Netflix. We'll have the details at the bottom of the page. Leanne, who was the first person that you called to tell about it?
I called my husband, and he was like, what? Because this whole time, I think
Leanne,
he's always
busy.
been really supportive of me. But I think that he has always been an executive with a company and had, made a living for us. And I think it was always like little kooky Leanne doing her kooky little thing. Let's let her do her kooky thing on the side. And I made money, and I didn't make a living. I bought my kids haircuts and stuff. That was our unspoken rule. Like, okay, you do comedy and you'll buy Santa Claus in December. Like, that's where my money went. And then when this started happening, it took him a long time to catch up with it. Like, he didn't understand what was happening. And now I've said, you don't have to work like a mule, but he needs to work like a mule. I don't want him traveling with me, because I would have to do horrible things in a hotel room, and I'm so tired. Like, I can't do all that, you know? I can't be doing, because he would act like we were on a honeymoon, and I've still got to do shows, you know? So he's over a division for a company, and he is a very anal retentive type A person that has to be in a wad. And he's not happy unless he's having to be challenged and working and hysterical.
See,
does that make sense?
No, it absolutely does, because my wife is the one with the real job. And somebody asked me, and she crushes me in salary, okay? And somebody asked me one time, and they go, aren't you weirded out that your wife makes more money than you? And I'm like, no. If I had my way, I wouldn't be working at all.
Oh, I know. Can you just go to the spa?
I would be perfectly happy being a house husband.
Yeah, because you talk all day. I know you use up all your words. I know you're exhausted, honey. You're having to be on. But Yeah, I would hope that my husband would relax a little bit because he really has been a wonderful provider and has worked so hard for us. And I've really tried. I've said, why don't you enjoy something? Why don't you go play golf or something? I don't have time for that. He says.
Oh, I know.
He likes to be in a wad.
I get you. Leanne Morgan on the line with me right now. I was looking up some stuff about you earlier this week, and you were doing an interview on one of the talk shows, and you were talking about one of your early stops and like one of your platforms was selling jewelry.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Okay, well,
that's amazing that
you,
you would take
darling.
that and use that, like you use what you have in front of you, is the way I took it.
Yes, and I look back on it, and at the time, I really was trying to meet friends. I married this man. He moves me to Bean Station, Tennessee, in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I was lonely, and I was pregnant with my first baby, and I wanted to make, but I didn't want to stay home with my baby. And all the while thinking, I'm going to be in Hollywood, but I'll do this for now. So, which is crazy. I know it sounds like crazy. But anyway, I started selling this jewelry. I don't even care about jewelry. And I look back on it, and I had my own little comedy club with my own demographic every night. I started a shtick, and I honed that over time, and that was some of the first material I ever had. And I would get in women's living rooms every night, and they thought I was funny. And people started booking me a year in advance, and that's how I got the confidence to, when we moved to San Antonio, Texas, I had a comedy club, and I got up and did open mic. And I was scared to death. It was very different from a jewelry party, let me tell you. But I did it. And that was over 20-something years ago.
That's you know what? That's how my dad usually says. He's got a saying, F-I-J-I. Sometimes you just got to say blanket and jump in, if you know what I'm talking about. Leanne Morgan.
Oh, you don't.
That's we're trying to get him to get the tattoo on his ankles, F-I on one, J-I in the other.
Oh, that'd be cute.
So maybe I'll do that one of these days. Leanne Morgan on the line with me right now. I'm Every Woman on Netflix, doing very well. We have the links at the bottom of the page. Leanne, what else you got going on? Like, what's coming up for you? What are you doing? What's kind of the next step?
Well,
now that
I'm writing a book.
Are you really?
But believe you me, I have some help because I don't understand grammar, and I didn't pay attention in school. I flirted with people instead of studying. So they got me somebody to help me organize this thing, but it's called What in the World, and it'll come out in 2024. And I named it that because every day I go, what in the world, all this happening to me? And I really believed it. That I always believed in myself, and I always thought something big was going to happen for me.
Yeah.
And when I got in it, I thought, I'm going big. I'm not doing it if I'm not going big. And so I always thought that, but it's bigger and better and sweeter than anything I could have ever imagined. And so this book, I got to tell you this because it's funny. My literary agent, who was a doll, who was so funny, I started writing this book, and I started telling every horrible thing I ever did in the 80s. And every bit of sin I ever committed. And he goes, you know what, honey, you're not Joan Crawford yet. And he goes, why don't your first book, he goes, I think you could write about all your sin later, but why don't we write about, like, funny essays and intro you to the world? And so that's what this book is going to be, and it'll come out in 2024. And then I'll tell y'all all about my sin.
Let's save the sin for the sequel.
Yes, the sequel of sin.
Oh, that's a good name. You might want to write that down somewhere.
I know.
Hey, Leanne.
That is a good one.
Since you're from the Appalachia area, I do have to ask, and you don't have to give specifics, but do you have a moonshiner in your life?
No, I do not, honey.
Really?
And I don't. No, but see, it's legal. They're all making it up here. My husband just brought in a big jar somebody gave him, and I can't even smell it. I'm not a big drinker, and I'm kind of sissy, but Lord, now, that we had Popcorn Sutton, that little man that they did a documentary on that was always in the woods and the law was chasing him. Well, now, see, it's legal. So all these people at Pigeon Forge, you can go and taste moonshine, and it's like apple pie and stuff like that. Yeah. Do you like moonshine?
I have a buddy that makes it, and I do. It's not my go-to, but I like it.
Yeah, because doesn't it make women take their top off? I mean, I don't know.
No, I just
I'm more of a margarita gal. You know?
Yeah. No, mango margaritas with that orange salt around the rim, that spicy salt.
Ooh, yummy.
Yeah, we learned about that in Mexico last year. So, no, I whenever I hear about that area, I always hear someone talking about moonshine and all this, and people have it. I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm a goober, and I smoked cigarettes in the 80s, but that's about as far as I got. I'm not a moonshine gal, but I do have a big jar of it that Chuck Morgan brought in here.
Awesome.
But I'm not opening it.
That's just for looks.
It's just for looks. But I guess if somebody wants to drink it, they can. But, yeah, I'm not going to serve it.
My uncle made a bottle of peppermint schnapps about 20 Christmases ago, and I think there's still half a bottle on my parents'
Nobody could take it?
No, it was one of those we drank it the one night, and then we never went back to it.
Oh, gotcha.
So now it's about probably 1,000. I don't know. Leanne Morgan, I'm Every Woman on Netflix. Leanne, this has been a lot of fun. I know you got to get to the rest of your day, but thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
You angel, honey. Thank you, my darling. Thank you. I've had a ball.